A small break in the weather allows us to depart Lloyd's Bay and continue our journey south. But the winds soon return with a vengeance, and we have some of the hardest sailing of the trip.
We're living the dream!
We also discuss securing sails in strong winds. I get a bait ball for my birthday, we eat some bush tugger, and snorkel an amazing part of the Great Barrier Reef.
Alright, so we pulled in out of the wind. Wind generator's going off, it's making 20 amps, it's 30 knots plus at the moment and gusting harder. Just one little detail, when we furl our head sail, I always make sure I furl it and it's nice and firm, and I make sure the sheets make a couple of wraps around. And then on the furling line itself, I make that fast to a cleat, and I make sure that the head sail sheets, I make them fast as well. Because if you've ever seen a head sail come loose and start flapping and destroy stuff, it's the only time you ever want to see it. I haven't seen it on any of my boats before, but I've come down and I've seen the aftermath and it's pretty ugly, and it can drop a mast. We're not going to leave the boat, but you would definitely want to do that if you were going to leave a boat and you're expecting strong winds.
Lock it in.
Also with these strong winds, having a few casualties on our punch down, alright, as you do.
Maybe if we're here, I might pull out the sewing machine this afternoon, we've got plenty of power.
Or,
Fix it up.
alright. And so the furler has a jammer like on it, but just because I'm a paranoid, cautious sort of person, I've got a cleat there as well, and I'll just take couple of figure eights on the cleat. I'm not going to make it fast. I'll just take a few wraps and that'll be that. Make everything neat just so it doesn't blow away. So in a previous episode we did a little, as one of our commenters said, a jury rig on our wind generator, didn't we? Or a bodgy fix as I like to call it. So we took out the voltage regulator and I just put a bridge rectifier in. The bridge rectifier just takes AC and turns it into DC. That's all it does. If you want to know more, just look up bridge rectifiers. Google is at your fingertips if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, people were, they're probably wondering, well, okay, you've got unregulated DC going in, and they instantly think that, well, how many volts is it going to be? Now, it's not like an alternator which has a variable magnetic field, okay? When you have an automotive regulator, it's actually an amperage regulator rather than a voltage regulator. The name is deceiving. So what we've got here, coming in, the voltage is a function of the battery, the system, the 12 volt system, and the windings inside the wind generator. And if I look in here with my multimeter now, it's making about 10 amps when it's roaring away out there. And if I put the pins of my multimeter on the system to see what it is, it's coming up and it's about 13 volts is what's coming in. So 10 amps at about 13 volts. The battery voltage up here, this is pretty slow to read it. It's off a different system. This is the solar panels. It's reading the overall system, but it's not off this bus bar. It's saying that the battery voltage is 12.5, so not too bad for a lead acid battery. It's got load on it though. Every now and then this will creep up as the amperage goes in. If you like, there's electrons crowding in on the wiring, raising the electromotive force, which is your voltage. But once it gets higher than the battery voltage, those amps go into the battery and it equalises again. So really, when I say that it's an unregulated voltage, what will happen is that will just keep charging the battery. It'll go up from 12 volts to 13 volts to 14.5, 6 volts. But what happens is when it gets really full and it's beyond capacity and it's gassing off like crazy, there's no regulation, it won't stop, and I have to manually switch it off when I see that this number up here gets to 14 volts, and that's what I mean that it's unregulated. Not that it's coming out of there at all sorts of crazy voltages. All right, the voltage that it is the voltage of the system, and as more electrons flow into the system, the voltage rises, but then it goes into the battery and it equalizes again. So later on when we get to cans, when I say that I'm going to put a voltage regulator, what will happen is the voltage will go up beyond the battery's capacity to absorb any more, and then it will either shut down the wind generator, like I just did then, but it'll do it automatically, or it will shunt it to a dummy load, and I'm thinking of putting in a dummy load like a water heater, because as we travel further south, I'd like a warm shower, and I'm sure Pascale would like the same, wouldn't you, Pascale?
Mm-hmm. We've left Lockhart River. We were kind of waiting out the strong wind warning there, and it's still fairly strong winds, but we're leaving anyway. It's not too bad. We found like a lull today, Sunday. It's a lull in the strong winds, so we're off, and we're trying to shoot a pretty long passage, trying to cover, I think, 50 nautical miles to get to a point that is further south of here, and is in the shelter, a little bit of the shelter of Princess Charlotte Bay, which is a really big bay. The bottom, sitting at the bottom of the cape. Because we've got more strong winds coming in future, like in the next 2 to 3 days, we're trying to sail in it, which is pretty hectic. It's going to be 30 knots plus, so going into weather with that, it's just too much. So we're going to try and get to Cape Signet, I think it is, and then we'll see how we go from there. Troy's in his wet weather gear, so he's taking it pretty serious today.
Another day at the office. I thought it might be nice to just rinse my weather gear.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd just sail into a squall. Living the dream. We're living the dream. Woo. We were facing a difficult task of going south into strong headwinds while dodging dangerous reefs and numerous shoals. And to compound our problems, while the reefs are dangerous, they afford us no cover from the oncoming seas. If we reef anymore, we won't have any sail up in the air.
This is hard. This is really, really hard. My body's hurting a lot and I feel a bit sick.
Testing. Alright, so that was, what is it now? It's 20 past 11. The wind generators, I just looked at it, it was putting out 30 amps. So it's windy. And we've just done 16 hours of 50 miles head to weather. So how about you, Pascale? My enthusiasm for sailing is dampened for another day or two, I think. Yeah, a couple of times it was like being back in the Kimberley, when we're under a waterfall. It was quite salty. But I saw some cool fish jumping out of the water today, and various birds and bits and pieces. But yeah, all of that tacking.
You hit a shark.
And I think we hit a shark. But yeah, all that tacking has done me in. I'm ready for a nap, to tell you the truth.
Squall. Couldn't get out of Lloyd's Bay.
It was heavy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just a heavy day.
At least there weren't any ships today.
Just a prawn trawler. Oh, cool. It's over.
Is the prawn trawler the ship that's anchored? Or is that something else?
It wasn't anchored, it was working.
Oh.
It was pulling nets. That's why I had to tack around it. So he was changing direction as well. So I had to throw an additional tack in because the trawler's working. So when a fishing boat's got gear in the water, they have right of way.
Yeah.
So we were sucked in.
But we made it, and now we only have a small sail until we get into the shelter of it's called Princess Charlotte Bay.
Oh no, that's a big sail as well.
30 miles, 20 miles.
Maybe more, but it's got shelter, like where we just came down then, we were just surfing around in like a massive open paddock.
Yeah.
There was just no shelter. So there's another 20 miles till we get to Morris Island, and then that's the start of the reef. So there's more chicanery to go, but it's not 50 miles, and it's pretty much a straight line.
Great. Less tacky.
It's so tacky.
So tacky. Good night. It's my birthday tomorrow.
Woo.
Woo-hoo-hoo! It's like 30 more minutes of me being 31.
31. It's over.
It's over.
After.
That's what's hiding out at our boat.
I'll chuck him in, eh?
Yeah. We didn't have to go out and find fish today. The fish came to us. We got a bait ball for my birthday.
Yeah.
Bait ball birthday.
We got some reasonable footage. You got to see your man fishing in his underpants.
Yep.
Which is always great.
I foul hooked the Queenie, which was a pretty epic fight.
Poor old Queenie.
Yeah, oh well. He got away. He'll live another day with a little bit of a gash on the top of his body.
It's true. It's true. And now we've got fish. So we're just ran out the last of the tuna. So
yep.
We're good.
Fish in the fridge. Movie to watch. We've been spending the day just chilling and eating popcorn.
After yesterday's epic.
Yeah, after yesterday's epic and extra naps.
Nice.
It's been a great birthday. Very chilled.
Happy birthday, Pascale.
Thanks, Dal.
Strong wind warning for Friday for Peninsula coast winds southeasterly 20 to 25 knots, reaching up to 30 knots offshore early in the morning.
Oh, I wish I had a dream. Sky is blue and leaves are green. Oh, I wish I had more time. She is here, but she's not mine. It was certainly a thrill, but it seems it was against her will. Oh, I wish I was a better man, but I do the best I can. Oh, I wish I could sleep at night when I'm turning off the lights.
With another day to kill, we visited a nearby islet and foraged for some local bush tucker.
These telescopium mangrove snails are known by Australian Aboriginals as longbums, and I reckon that's a pretty good name. The traditional way of cooking them is in the shell on the fire for 5 minutes, then it's up to you how you can get into them.
Oh, should have my sunnies on.
So that was the process of cooking and getting our long bums out the shell.
Oops.
And dropping them back into the sand. But there's a soft gut here. So we just take that off. It's a nice colour green, isn't it? It's going to appeal to lots of people. Like that. Got a little bit of seawater. And basically what you're left with is the foot. Very mild flavour.
I was trying to figure out what it tastes like, because I had one earlier. I reckon it tastes a bit like abalone.
Yeah, Pascale.
Looks disgusting. Yeesh. Pretty good.
What do you think?
It's good. Probably more common fare are these delicious blacklip oysters that we smoked by placing directly on the hot coals of the fire.
Got another use for our fishing pliers here. Here's a look at our kitchen. There's the sink. There's the bench top. And here's the food awaiting preparation, but it's pretty much done. This part of the beach we've selected, it's covered in these little seeds and bits of wood and stuff like that. And that's really great for keeping sand out of your food.
The mussel comes away.
Black lips are pretty good cooked up. We've had this massive high pressure system that's just been sitting in the bight and just directing strong winds and just smashing us for over a week. Finally there's a big low giving everyone stormy weather in the south of Australia, but it's going to push it out. This trough will move by, and as that low becomes more centred, we'll get better winds up where we are. So we'll be able to head to the outer reef and actually make a bit of south blast, because we have to be in Cairns, by between the 10th to the 14th, because we're house sitting, which is going to be crazy. But I've made a promise to a friend, and I can't break promises to friends. It's just a personal flaw. But yeah, this is good news for us. As evening descended, our friendly booby came looking for a place to spend the night, but their habit of sitting on wind instruments and pooing copiously everywhere makes them a pretty unwelcome guest. With an island so close, we didn't feel bad about moving him along. Alright, here we go. So we're expecting these winds to die off, and that's what's happened this morning. It was really caning earlier on, but it's just starting to ease a bit now. There's a bit of a remnant sloppy sea left over. Pascale's dealing with that on the tiller at the moment. But this is it. We're going to bail out from behind the island. We're going to head out to the reef in anticipation of some easier weather.
But we've made it to the reef and Troy's just about to tack now.
You're a lot more conscious of making a good tack and not going in irons when you've got a reef to the lee. This is really good. Now that we're in the shelter of the reef, we've got an opposing current, but it's not a cross current. So when we're pointing 170, we're doing like 170, 180 instead of being swept all over the place. So I'm a lot happier about this. All right, here we are. We've decided to take a break from getting the bejesus blown out of us. We've tucked in behind the reef here. We're going to go for a bit of a snorkel. I'm not going to go jousting, which is what it looks like at the moment. I know I harp on about it, but look, we're going to go swim to a pressure point, and you know what's going to be there? Fishes.
Lots of fish.
Lots of fish. All right, let's go check it out.
Thank you for tuning into Free Range Sailing. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, as it really helps get our video out to more viewers. If you'd like to keep track of us in real time, there is links in the description to our Facebook and Instagram page, as well as loads of other great information that you might find useful.